Hey, how about one more for 74 on episode 55 and 5? Ian, Cary, our producer AJ from Bisson Creative and Web Design. Cary, we're doing 2 tag teams to close out the week.
Oh, we just had a exotic pet owner.
Yes.
We had an NFL star.
We had a fake Zabisco.
Right.
And now, Great Scott. That's your clue. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you know these fellas.
George and Sandy.
It is George and Sandy. We're going to take a look here. And the intent of this is to learn one by one who each of the stars in this 55 Parkhurst card set are. Cary, you got 5 minutes to tell us a little bit about the Scott brothers, George and Sandy, the Flying Scots.
Here they are in 1955. They have to be like, what, 25, 26 years old?
And you nailed it. Sandy is 21. George is 26.
Okay. Yeah. They went on to for a long career. I know they settled in the late 60s into the 70s in the Carolinas.
Yes, sir.
Which was a tag team wrestling territory. And George Scott later went on to be a booker.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes guy. Not just in the Carolinas, but going on to Vince McMahon, I believe.
Yeah, he was the booker for WrestleMania 1.
There you go. And Sandy Scott, I guess, got out of the business, but a long career.
Interesting about
Maybe
Sandy.
I'm wrong.
We'll come back. Yeah, everybody thinks Sandy. Yeah, our good friend Gary Jester worked with Sandy.
Well, tell me about it.
Yeah,
please.
yeah. This is a cool one. George Scott, 1929 to 2014. He used to make some appearances at the the Legends conventions and things like that,
right,
which was always neat. Wrestled from 48 to 81. And there's some other results that he did some one-offs, but he would wrestle occasionally in 81.
I'll pull out a poster of the week with the Scott brothers on it one day. I got
awesome.
one.
Yeah. And so he, interesting to know. Do you know who helped him become a pro wrestler?
American,
yeah. I think Carney.
Oh, I don't know.
Jack Pfeffer.
Really?
Yeah, he's a Jack Pfeffer signee. So he because Jack Pfeffer signee, he starts in Eastern Canada, 51 to 53, Western Canada, 54. He goes there with Sandy. Sandy starts up at 54, and right out of the gate as a tag team, they're feuding with the Mills brothers, who we talked about, Murder and Cobra. Alan Tiny Mills, yeah. And we talked about them on a previous episode, so you could check that out. They were the tag champs in Amarillo and St. Louis. And then George and Sandy have a falling out. Their mother passes away. They kind of a falling out. That's kind of the story that's passed around. So they kind of split apart for a little bit. And George becomes a popular opponent for Gene Kiniski for the NWA World Championship. And then, but really the Bread Butters, the tag team, they drew a huge crowd in the Carolinas against the Millers, Bill Miller.
And Dan Miller.
Yep. Dr. M. And he would win a championship in Capitol in the WWF. And he teamed with Buddy Austin.
Interesting.
To beat Buddy Rogers and Johnny Barend for the tag title. So nice wrinkle there. George's after career is a little bit more interesting, in my opinion, even though he had a great wrestling career. He really helped Jim Crockett boost their attendance and their gates. And he, despite being a part of a popular tag team, was credited from the move from tag team wrestling to single wrestling in the Crockett promotion.
Right. And they wanted to switch things around. They brought in Wahoo McDaniel, Johnny Valentine.
Yeah.
And it heated up the promotion.
It did. And Blackjack Mulligan and Ric Flair.
Right.
Yeah. And so George Scott gets a lot of credit, a lot of well-deserved credit for shaking things up and for the formula working. 83 joins Vince McMahon, helps Vince buy the time slot on TBS, which becomes Black Saturday.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's the one that helped negotiate that. And then helps WWF buy Stampede and gets the credit for bringing British Bulldogs, Bret Hart, those wrestlers. And then credited for booking 84 through 86. And they had $1 million weekends some weekends.
That was it may be dollar-wise, it'd be different in the later 2000s, but for that era, that was the biggest money of all time.
They have 3-4 shows a day, 2 a day, 2 days in a weekend. he leaves because of drama and a dispute with Dick Ebersol. Dick Ebersol wanted to make Saturday Night Main Event more of a TNT style show with skits.
Yeah, there was a time where Saturday Night Live was preempted. Am I right?
Yeah.
To have WWF like once every 6 weeks or 2 months or 3 months maybe. Saturday Night Main Event with Dick Ebersol was the producer.
One of the producers, and drew huge money and huge audiences. And then gets run out of town to some world-class office work and retires. So he's pretty much done by 88. Sandy, on the other hand, is curveball. Didn't see this coming. He was one of the few folks that worked from Jim Crockett Promotions pretty much through the end of WCW.
Really?
He was one of the few that went wire to wire in WCW.
We'll have to ask Gary Chester about him.
Yep. He was an executive, but he was also a TV host for a brief period. I think right before Les Thatcher, he hosted the Worldwide program. He was a broadcaster.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the Scott brothers really have a long...
I mean, did you that come to the top of your head when you saw that?
I remember Tony Schiavone saying, I remember he'd just rattle off names, member of the executive committee, Sandy Scott.
Okay.
And I remember that, but I never knew that.
So he wasn't an on-air personality.
Worldwide, he was.
Okay.
Very briefly, I think maybe 6 months.
Well,
yeah.
Have to scour the
YouTube
to see if some of those tapes.
Yeah, and I think chronologically, he was right before when Les Thatcher took over as the host.
Well, these guys made a lot of money in the wrestling business.
Yeah, I think one of the
which is a rare thing, especially if they kept it. That's even rarer.
I was going to say, I think they ended up doing okay. So George and Sandy Scott, the Flying Scots, as they were called, had a great career as a team, and then really maintained themselves through the wrestling industry. Pretty cool card here today. Great jackets too. Love the fashion. It's kind of like a plaid windbreaker.
They might even have been airbrushed on there.
There you go.
But no, a real nice card. Good history there, my man.
Yeah. And so tomorrow we're going to end out the week with another tag team. You know what, Cary? This is a guaranteed slam dunk for you tomorrow, too.
Okay.
All right. I want to thank you for watching. Thank AJ, our producer. Thank Cary, Uncle Gunny, Captain Lou. And thank you for 55.5 is Ian Riccaboni. See you tomorrow.